So in today's setup guide, we are checking out the awesome Yuzu emulator, and this is a Nintendo Switch emulator that I previously covered on the RetroBat front-end setup guide, which is for PC. So in this setup guide, I'm going to be showing you which files we need, which file extensions your games need to be in. I'm also going to be going to show you how to get the best performance out of running Yuzu on your computer, and I'm going to be showing you all sorts of different tips and tricks to get you the very best performance with video settings and even controller configuration. So check this one out. Okay, before I start today's Yuzu Nintendo Switch emulator setup guide, make sure to hit notifications, subscribe and like if you like the video today. It will get you up-to-date retro emulation content as I release it. It also helps my channel out a great deal. So it's a little bit debatable whether or not I should be covering Nintendo Switch on a retro channel such as mine, but to be fair, I've covered Nintendo Switch in my RetroBat front-end setup guides, which I do, and that's besides the point. We got iconic retro icons such as Super Mario and Kirby and even Link and Zelda. So I'm going to do this anyway. It's a standalone. So what we're going to do first to actually get up and running with Yuzu emulator is just head over to the website and we can download Yuzu just here. And this is going to bring you to a downloads page. Now, first of all, you need to establish if you've got the latest version of Microsoft Visual C++. If you're not sure if you've got this, just left click on the link just there and install it. Now, in my case, I've already got this installed, so I don't see install just here. If you don't have it installed, you will see an install button. So press prepare. Do anything, because like I said, I've already got this installed. So once you've done that, it's going to ask you to reboot your computer if you've not got Visual C++ installed. Once you've rebooted your computer, we can then download Yuzu from Windows times 64. Let's just open up that installer. Okay, once that's been installed, we're just going to press exit and you'll find a shortcut on your desktop at this point. If you just double left click on that shortcut, you're going to find that it updates. Like I say, it updates around a couple of times a day. It's a very active development team behind Yuzu, and that's what makes it such a great emulator. And you're also going to get this little pop-up notice on your first boot. Encryption keys are missing. So what we need for this is some files, and this is going to be prod.keys in title.keys. So first thing we're going to see then is encryption keys are missing, and this is where you need to find your prod.keys in title.keys. So I'm going to show you how to install these. If we just OK this for now, what we're going to do is go at the file at the top, open Yuzu folder, and you're going to find a keys folder just here. And this is where these two files are going to go, prod.keys in title.keys. Also need to be aware that if you've got new releases for Nintendo Switch games, if you're using older prod and title.key files, then your most recent modern Switch games aren't going to appear in your library. So just to make you aware of that. So what we're going to do next is double click to add new folder to the game list. So in my Switch games folder, I've got Kirby in the Forgotten Land, a game which I used a couple of times before on my RetroBat setups. And we've also got the very awesome Sonic Superstars. And make a note that both of these are in .nsp file extension. So what we're going to do is double click the folder just here and navigate to where that Switch games folder is located. You double left click on the Switch games folder and select folder, and that's going to have our games appear, and that's it. So there's other bits and pieces we need to talk about in this setup guide, such as shaders. Now, even if you've got a higher end computer, such as a gaming computer, I'm personally running an 11th gen i7 gaming laptop with 16 gig of RAM, and it's a very good laptop. However, we still got to go past those shader parts of loading your game. So on your first boot, your games are appear to be very laggy, and what this is doing is taking all the graphics from your game and is storing it into a folder. If I just quickly open up Kirby, I'll show you what I mean. So just double left click on the game. You'll notice around just here where my cursor is, you'll notice that it says building shaders. There we go, building 68 shaders. So as you've seen just there, Kirby was pretty laggy on the initial boot of the game, but if I run through that first part of the game, and then go back to it again, that lagging is going to be gone. So what we're going to do next is actually look at controllers. So I'm going to go up to Emulation, Configure, and if I just go down to Controls, Input Device, I've currently got my Xbox controller plugged in to my computer, so I'm going to select Xbox One controller. And from here, normally this is automatically going to configure for you. But if you need to map this out, then I recommend at the top just here, just selecting Pro Controller. And then it's given us a guide of which button to use on our controller. So just do that again. So if I press up, and then left, and as we can see, that's now mapping out. But like I say, generally, this does this for you. And what I also recommend doing is just saving a new profile. So go to New and type in a profile name. And then just go to Save once you've done all that. Go to OK. Okay, so something else we got here. At the bottom here, we got Vulkan and we got OpenGL. So both of these are back-end drivers for video display. Now, most games work fine with Vulkan on, such as Kirby, which I just opened up a minute ago. We've also got docked mode and handheld mode. Now, if you've got a weaker computer, I recommend keeping this in handheld mode. If you put it in docked mode, you're going to get a much better display. And for video settings, if we go to Emulation, Configure, Graphics, just here we can find those same settings. So API, we got OpenGL, Vulkan just here. Now, like I say, most games work well with Vulkan, but if you find a game which should be working doesn't work, switch it over to OpenGL. And once we got Vulkan open, we can then select our graphics card. So in my case, I'm running an RTX 3050. Now, the part which is really going to boost up your Nintendo Switch collection to make these games look awesome is under resolution. So currently, this was for me on 2 times. But we can put this on to 7 times, which I wouldn't recommend, but I think in some cases you can easily go up to 3 times, which is going to give you a real crystal clear picture and give you some real definition in Switch game textures. So even if you put this to 1 times 720p to 1080p, you're then matching what a real Nintendo Switch can output. I'm going to leave this on 2 times. And under anti-aliasing method, we got FXAA or SMAA. So both of these acts as a filter and they just get rid of some rough edges. Now I recommend FXAA on this. And if we head up to Advanced, we're going to find anastrophic filtering, and this can go up to 16 times. Now again, just like a minute ago, if you've got a weaker computer which can barely run it in the first place, don't go up to 16 times. If you've got a modest mid-range gaming computer, then go up in increments. Start from 2 times, 4 times, 8 times, and find the sweet spot. I'm going to just go for 2 times on this. Once you've figured out your settings, just go to OK. And let me just remind you that you don't have to generalize all these video settings. You can actually do it per game. So if I left click on the game, right click on it, and go down to Properties, from here I can then configure those video settings for each game. So API settings, we got the same here. And everything else is under advanced settings. So with Yuzu emulation, you might find some games work well with particular video settings and another game doesn't work so well with those same settings. So it's a good idea to configure each game which works best for you. Okay, next up, I'm going to give you some pointers. If you fancy getting a little bit of extra boost out of your computer, just head over to this website, and I use this program myself. This is Razer Cortex. And once installed, what this does is takes away all the background processes from running, which is going to give Yuzu more power and performance from your CPU and GPU. So like I say, I'll leave the links in my description, and I'm going to show you how this works. So I'll open up Razer Cortex. This is the main interface, and what I'm going to do to take away background processes and get some more juice into my Yuzu games, what I'm going to do is just go to Game Booster at the top, and from here, if I just go to Boost Now, we can see this is now releasing memory. So it's freeing up more memory, and it's taking away background processes that we don't need. So as you can see, I've just saved over 2 gig of memory just here. So if I just minimize this, now something else I'm going to say is GeForce. So I'm using a GeForce graphics card. As we know, I'm running an RTX. Just make sure that your drivers are all up to date as well. So just download the GeForce Experience app and check for updates. So if we go back into Yuzu, now that I've got Razer Cortex enabled and that's taken away background processes, I'm going to open up one of my games again. So if I just exit out of this, as we can see again, right at the bottom, it will say building shader. So what this is doing is just saving all those graphics in data into a folder. What I'm going to do is just play a bit more of this, stop the game, then I'm going to play through it again so you can see what I mean by this. So if I just exit out of there, I'm going to launch Yuzu again, and I'm going to play that same part, and we'll see that it's actually smoothed out now. So launch the game again. And as we can see there, nowhere near as laggy as the initial boot up of that game. So I'm going to go back to Yuzu one last time. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is check out Sonic Superstars. We had this one for Christmas alongside Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and I've not actually tested this one out yet on Yuzu, so I'm just going to go through some video settings. So properties, graphics, and I'm going to select API to Vulkan so it can utilize my graphics card. I'm also going to drop resolution down to 720p 1080p and see how well this performs with these default settings. So okay, and let's just open up the game. So start game, and if I was to start this game without custom configuration, it would apply my settings which I've just put in. So start game. And as expected, on the first playthrough, it's very laggy. So if we open this up again, And that's it for today's Nintendo Switch Yuzu setup guide. So if you liked today's video, hit notifications, subscribe and like so you don't miss upcoming retro emulation content. Also feel free to check out my other emulation setup guides. I do front-end systems mainly such as RetroBat, EmuDeck, even Steam Deck and Raspberry Pi, as well as a lot of different standalone emulators for consoles and microcomputers. Also be sure to join me on social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. But until next time, stay retro.